Thank you for being with us this afternoon. For those who don't know me, I'm Alexandros Damianidis, and I am a maritime partner of Watson Farley Williams, based in our Athens office, with my main expertise being maritime contracts, including shipping finance, shipbuilding contracts, SMP, and so on. I would like, first of all, to congratulate Capital Link and Mr. Linkoras Bornozis for this excellent forum. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to present you today a panel with some of the main global industry leaders. We have with us today Mr. Ahmed Ali Alsubaey, CEO and board member of Bahri Group. Mr. Evangelos Marinakis, founder and chairman of Capital Maritime and Trading. Mr. George Prokopiou, founder of Dynacom Tankers Management, Dynagas Ltd, a listed company at the New York Stock Exchange, and Sea Traders. And Mrs. Lois Zabrocky, CEO of International Seaways, a listed company at the New York Stock Exchange as well. Thank you for being with us today. I'd like to start this panel with a question regarding the IMO vote, the recent IMO vote on net zero, on the net zero framework. This, as we all know, has been postponed for a year. Is this, in your view, a firm pause on net zero, or a case of restarting again from scratch to come up with a new proposal? And if so, what is it that would need to change in the framework for a revised proposal to be accepted? Is it an acknowledgement that the regulator overstretched, perhaps? People say it's just a blip, but how can owners make it work without the backing of the two biggest trading nations? Would you like to start with this question? Or who would like to start?
I would like to start.
Mr. Prokopiou, of course.
Is it by age, is it? Or?
No, it's by beauty.
Okay, okay.
So, in Cyprus, we had a very great debate with the General Secretary sitting, where is Anil there, and saying that we had the previous one, Mr. Kita Klim, that he had some excuses to think about ballast water treatment and scrubbers. And because as a Korean and Koreans being in the shipbuilding, I found relatively some synergies. But we didn't expect from a new guy that he said that he will use first the technical knowledge from the experts, and the experts are the classification societies, to come up with an idea to become the tax collector for the world. IMO is an organization that makes rules about safety and so on. They don't have a mechanism of collecting money or distributing money, and especially when there is no declared way how money will be distributed. But this is, again, a small detail of the issue. The heart of the problem, and that's why I gave a bet 1 to 20 to the Mr. Hadjiyannis, that he was sitting next to me. I said, I bet 1 to 20 that this rule is not going to pass. No, he said, George, this is something that is already agreed. China wants it, Panama wants it, the all Greek Shipowners Association wants it. There is, I said I bet 1 for 20 that this will not pass. Say I accept the bet. Unfortunately, I didn't say the amount. So now that I've seen it, I say, okay, it is €1. You give me 20. You lost. But apart from joking, first of all, why I was so convinced that this will not pass. It was because when you penalize somebody from not using fuels that they don't exist, this is absurd. How to penalize somebody for something that does not exist, to use it first. This discussion can go many hours because all is wrong. And I'll say how we can put it correctly, now what were the wrongs. But the second thing was that when Suezmax cost $80 million, $75 million, and so on. During the lifespan of the Suezmax, you have to pay $240 million in this penalty. So not only to pay once for the ship, 3 times on top for the penalty. This is not something, and of course nobody can foot this such type of the bill. The consumer will, but then we increase inflation, we increase poverty, consumption of energy is a factor of living standards. So, but in all sort of transportation, shipping is responsible for 2.5% of the world pollution. Why we don't focus on what the 87.5 does? First. Second, I'll make some key points, bullet points. We are not the engine builders, not the shipyards, we are the taxi drivers, we are the users. Do you, when you buy a car, you go and you insist or you invest how the car to be built? Then we are not the fuel makers. The refineries are. The energy companies are. So again, they are targeting a wrong. But the most sure way to ridiculate an organization is to issue rules that they cannot be implemented. So they lose credibility. And of course the politicians, they want the desirable because they have a clientele to satisfy. But we businessmen, we focus on the doable because otherwise we ridiculate ourselves if we promise things that we cannot deliver. So then we come to the very ready, ammonia ready, LNG ready. Also, this is a marketing tool. Ready is $10,000 for the certificate and some. So, because in order to remove this illusion, because we say ready $10,000. What we do as ship owners, we are ordering the best available ships at the given moment. We don't go to say, give me a model that is 10 years old or 5 years old. What is the best? What is the best engine? And we take the risks because the engines are not even tested. And we say, no, we want this version because it is 1 ton, 2 tons less. So what else we can do? The new ships that we order is 30 to 35% less in consumption for the same cargo. It's the first time that ship owners and the green organization, all these that they make money about only from very glossy magazines, our interests are aligned. The major cost in a shipping company is the oil. Of course, we want to spend less, and of course, if there are available and you have 2 suppliers every port, not 1, because if you have 1 supplier, he'll screw you with the price. So you need 2 suppliers in every port in order to have a distribution system. Sure. So when this is available, we'll go. But it is not our task. Of course, we buy whatever is the best available. So we have to be serious. And what is this? We have all the time, ship owners are busy in running their business and other people that they have not such interest are formulating the regulations. I really cannot understand why the Norwegians and the northern countries are so in favor of this net zero framework. I need an explanation. So far, I have not got the explanation. I don't understand why is this, because, okay, if you have 600 billion profits and you order one ship to say this is ammonia and we are in ammonia and so on, I know this is a very good PR exercise. Do it. But we are a family company. We try for the best. We care for our children and our grandchildren to live in a better environment, but we go with the possible, not the desirable. No, I don't want to take more of the time. We'll have a... Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Prokopiou. I wonder if there are any different views in the panel. Who would like to start, please?
Go ahead, Evangelos.
So, he destroyed them. Yes, he disagreed. He disagreed. Now, we have our views could be different. It's not a matter of disagreement. It's a matter of how any of us have it in our mind and what we need to do as leaders in our industry because of the number of ships that we operate and the amount of cargo we transport. Now, if we go back, so it's okay now. Okay, so if we go back the last 10 years, there have been a lot of discussions within IMO, within the committees of the Greek Shipowners Association, Norwegian Shipowners Association, European associations, and of course a lot of discussions with our classifications society regarding all this effort to reduce emissions. But I think that where the problem starts is that always because of disagreements, we try to find compromises. So at the end of the day, the compromise was that we can still use our vessels, but we will be penalized with a tax that the countries in Europe will be receiving. So in this way, we don't solve the problem for our environment. It's like you pay someone and you die happier. So it doesn't make sense, for me to... What Mr. Prokopiou had said all along was slow steaming. So with slow steaming, there is a result. The result says that there is less emissions. And the only thing that is increasing is the time of transportation. But at the end of the day, you see a result that helps the environment. And this is a matter of fact. Now, if you are penalized to pay, it is a high taxation for using your vessel, doesn't solve the problem. So, and the reason that they went to this measure is that they couldn't agree in the basics in the first place. So this is reality. And the other reality is that Mr. Trump was elected. He was, from the very beginning, he was very radical regarding the green discussions and transitions. And of course, by putting, by campaigning to countries that they shouldn't vote for this taxation, we saw that some countries also in Europe, at the very last minute, they Greece and Cyprus. And of course, the result was this postponement. Now, what I think that we should do is, at the end of the day, all of us to compromise, but to agree on measures that they will have an immediate effect to our environment. And we have a year in front of us, at least, to make some constructive discussions and find a solution. That's how I see it from my side.
Good.
Of course, having seen all these regulations and the deadlines, we invested a lot, not on a $10,000 certificate LNG ready, but a proper LNG dual fuels is over 30 vessels. Of course, we have paid a significant premium, and of course, all this now goes back for later. But I think that at the end of the day, when the market on the gas is, on the LNG is stabilized and the new production comes in, the price of LNG will be lower, and of course it will make sense to consume LNG irrespective of the reduction in emissions. So that's my view on your question.
Thank you, Mr. Marinakis.
I'm not going to let the lady on the panel be last, so please go ahead.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. So, if we look at the new building order book in the world of shipping, you're looking at over $70 billion, right? So the shipping industry, all these companies that are entrepreneurs that lead the way, make the investment, but the technology has to be ready for us. And we for sure know that, once fees are collected, you need to have a very efficient use of those funds. And that's not yet in existence, right? So, in the United States, I believe we now have our government open again. While the government was closed and there were no food stamps for the very needy people, there was discussion of taking money from the agricultural department. So, you can very easily see, shipping is pragmatic. We overcome everything to deliver oil, to deliver containers. And so therefore, I do believe we will decarbonize. I think that it's going to take us longer than the dreamers want for that practicality to follow. We also have, not as many as Evangelos, but we have dual fuel VLCCs that are running on LNG today. And at the same time, LNG remains, it's going to be great. It's a transition fuel. Oh, no, now it's not so great. Oh, gee. And yet we're making decisions for assets that if you today order out of Korea a dual fuel VLCC, it's going to be close to $150 million. So those are massive investments that businesses are trying to take a considered view on in this world where there's a foundation that's shifting all the time.
First of all, good afternoon, everybody. Everybody's so quiet, my goodness. Good afternoon, everybody. All right, now we got some energy. First of all, what an honor it is to be with some of the giants of our business on this panel. I'm just privileged to be here on this panel, sharing the panel with them. Some of them are physically giant, not just figuratively giants. Just to demonstrate that we love the environment, we are the only two sharing the bottle of water here. Everybody's got their own bottle of water. So, no, really, this is. That's why we're going to spend some time on this question, because I think it's the core question that we're all sort of struggling with. I don't know who have hijacked our love for the planet. Somehow we put a label on shipping that you are dirty, you are polluting the environment. And I just want to let everybody, we are all in this room, love this blue planet. And whether regulation or no regulation, we will always continue to find ways and means to do this in the safest possible way. If you look at our industry from what happened in the 1960s today, it doesn't even resemble. If you look at the type of fuels, if you look at the type of engines, you know, people talk about the environment, but the two major industries that have done something about the environment is the energy sector and the machine, the designers of the engine sector. These two people over the last 30, 40 years have really transformed what we do for the environment. So I think this was a wake-up call for all of us. The way it's shocking all of us, and this is the first time that we postponed a regulation because we were going really, you know, with the dreamers. If you're not a tree hugger, you're not an environmentalist. I don't know why that label was put on us, but I think it's a wake-up call to be. We heard Lois say pragmatic. I think we are pragmatic environmentalists. And we've heard George say what's possible, and we've heard, Marinakis, Mr. Marinakis, about that we're really doing something, not just about a certificate. We're really doing some real changes and we're making the investment to do so. So I think being pragmatic is good for the environment, good for the business, and it's a wake-up call because supply chain comes to a screeching halt if we don't do this right. And I tell you, this industry, shipping industry, you don't know how powerful you are. You know, when we sneeze, the rest of the industries get a cold. We've seen it. We've seen how vulnerable our business is supply chain is during COVID, when it became really, really a wake-up call for all of us. The conflict between Russia and Ukraine, the havoc it did to food security, the two bipolars, China and the US, when they get into these trade wars, it really affects us all and affects the man and the woman on the street. So we take this very seriously. We will do always what's possible, and even when it doesn't make sense for the environment. I mean, I'll tell you something that maybe some of you will have a different view with, but I'll try to be controversial here. I never liked those open-ended scrubbers. I thought it's a joke. If anybody thinks we're doing this for the environment, I don't know what science they have been reading. To take pollution from the air and put it in the sea and get into your food cycle. Who would thought of this as a great, environmental thing? Yeah, and so we're polluting the seas, we're polluting, and now the fuel, the power plant, it used to be, away in the middle of the water, in the middle of the oceans. Now we brought it closer to our land because now we have all the fuel that's going to the vessels now ended up in power plants, which is in the backyard. So it doesn't make sense. But the reason we're doing it, we're doing it because it makes economic sense, not because it makes environmental sense. And I hope that we don't get regulations that on the face of it, it looks environmental, but actually it is not. It's more harmful to the environment. So I think this wake-up call will make us introduce regulations. We've always been an industry that is first when it comes to changing its ways and changing its practice to save the environment. So I'm hoping that the next time the IMO meets, they will come up with something pragmatic, something possible, something we can do, so we can truly, show our love for this blue planet. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was most interesting, and it's good that you also mentioned geopolitics, which is my the next point the next area I would like us to discuss. Geopolitics appear to affect shipping to a significant extent, the last few years especially, with wars, trade wars, including the latest Chinese port fees, which was the response to the US port fees, enhanced sanctions regimes and other disruptions taking a lot of time to resolve. They kept us busy as well as lawyers. At the same time, disruption has in fact benefited most of the shipping sectors to an unprecedented extent. But what is your experience of all this? What do you expect to happen next? What do you expect to happen if the Ukrainian war or the Houthi attacks end? And what lessons we learned from the geopolitical turbulence of the last few years? How has this impacted your decision-making? Who would like to start? Yes, Mr. Prokopiou.
Thank you. I would like to put two only words on the previous discussion. Unfortunately, the previous arrangement for the net zero framework was penalize the use of LNG on the ships. So your dual fuel ships would pay less if they use fuel. This is what is so absurd. And it's a very, very valid point. And secondly, the scrubbers and ballast water treatment, they create much more than what they save. And when I said at that time to the Ministry of Transportation of China, because the Chinese are clever people, so I said, I had him on my yacht for a weekend, and I gave him a page with 10 bullet points. After 6 months, 8 of them were in force. One of that was, don't have high sulfur fuel in your port, so the ships had to go down to Singapore. Don't allow the discharge of the scrubber in the water. And you see, in 6 months, it was regulation. It was implemented. Why? Because they see the substance. And Mr. Trump is a businessman. He could not accept this completely unreasonable, I don't want to say another Greek word, in being implemented. So, and as far as the hypocrisy, we have great hypocrisy, because 7 years, 8 years ago in Cyprus, we proposed from tomorrow, reduce the speed 2 knots. Immediately, all pollution from ships would go down by 50%. By 50%. And the container market that was in tatters would pick up. But our friends from the north, they were furious. I don't know. They don't want to make money as well. I really, this was my great disappointment. First, you need much more ships. So freight rates go up. Anyway, coming now on the geopolitics, the best way for improvement of living standards is peace. When you have peace, trade flourishes. And when trade flourishes, as is 90% is globalization is implemented by shipping. And what means globalization? Globalization means to buy raw materials or finished goods with guidance, only price and quality. Distance is irrelevant. And why is irrelevant? Because of ships. So the means for implementing globalization are the ships. Now, I hope that soon the last war will be over, and we have to rebuild many places. Libya, Syria, Gaza, Ukraine, many, Lebanon. So I'm very optimistic that this way that Mr. Trump wants to, even sometimes bluffing, and he's very good at that,
he'll achieve what he needs because he wants to do it. And they can't do it, and we have to support, because peace is the only way forward. So your question was about geopolitics. Of course, one of the most unknown factor is what happens today, tomorrow, but at the end of between the relationship of countries and so on. But if we want to bet on something, we have to bet on peace, not on war. Thank you.
And peace obviously also brings business from what you're telling us, perhaps most important business. Lois, would you like to add something?
Yeah, definitely, Russia attacking Ukraine and, we're going on, multiple years. Obviously, it did add ton-mile demand. But to George's point, we are international. We want open and free trade. That's the environment that we thrive in. And when everybody becomes protected, that is not the ideal scenario for us. A couple of comments, would be that it does seem that the Trump administration likes the idea that they, if they put on enough pressure, they can create peace. It feels different to us right now that there are, maybe 150 million barrels of oil in the water that are kind of wondering where they're going to go because there's increased pressure on India and it's restricting some of the flows. So it feels like maybe there is a shift where instead of just punishing shipping, you actually put pressure on the buyers and the sellers, right? It seems like some lessons learned, maybe Trump wasn't completely wrong in that, and I think all of the NATO countries have stepped up and are, funding defense because United States became a little bit, let's say less reliable or, a little bit more of a question mark, right? So, all of these things are destabilizing and, we're looking for that situation where I agree with George, you have to bet on peace and look towards economic improvement and not just retraction of trade.
Thank you.
Well, I just, it's true that we all benefited, by the way. George, you don't like to make money? We all benefited from this geopolitical tension. I think if you look at the Red Sea, premiums just shot up, and who benefited? Shipping companies did. So we do benefit from geopolitical tension, but it is short term. It is never the way to go. And to us, without free trade is deadly for shipping business going forward. So I think, I'm hoping that whatever tit for tat is happening on the geopolitical scenes, that it's just means to an end, and hopefully the end is to have free trade across the world, because that's how we thrive, and that's how we grow as an organization. As a matter of fact, I keep telling everybody, especially the women in our audience here, there is no shipping, no shopping. We stop. The shipping is the lifeline for the economies around the world. And I think we need to focus more on penalizing the buyer and the seller, not to penalize the shipping that's happening in the middle. Just stop people from buying from whatever, and so we can. But anyway, I believe the only way to go, even though sometimes in the short term is not good for shipping, but I think the only way to go is to free trade and to allow us all to thrive and to allow, trade trends to flourish as it did in the past. And I think we're getting closer to that going forward.
I would like to make also another point, and of course this starts from geopolitics because of the wars that we have in Ukraine and between Ukraine and Russia, also other wars in the Middle East in the past that involved also Iran. And of course we have the civil war or what is going on in the last few years in Venezuela that have all these sanctions. So now, what we were talking before about net zero, all the discussion is to keep our seas clean. So there have been a lot of discussion, a lot of legislation, a lot of expense from all of us in order to keep, again, I'm repeating, our seas clean. And at the same time, we have politicians talking about sanctions and also talking about peace eventually. And when I entered the room, there was a discussion with Anil regarding dark fleet and sanction fleet. So we allow all this time over 1,500 ships. Out of them, 876 are already sanctioned. They don't have insurance, they don't have proper crew, no proper maintenance, and we have seen also many incidents, accidents in Suez Canal, the Baltic, in Singapore, collisions. We have seen many incidents in the last 12 months involving these vessels. And what we need as an industry to urge the US administration and Europe is immediately, without further delay, to give permission for these sanctioned vessels to be scrapped. Because what you said before, that India can receive vessels for scrap because they haven't sanctioned these vessels. You cannot pay this owner to scrap his vessel because he's sanctioned. And you need to find other ways how they can receive money. So if immediately we have this waiver for the next 2-3 months, at least to reduce this sanction fleet, this dark fleet, it will help a lot the industry, and at the same time will reduce significantly all this lawful trade. So because, you know, we spend time and efforts and money for issues that they have a very small impact into pollution, and at the same time we leave fundamental problems continuing. Does make sense? So I think that from here, we need to put our effort to send a strong message to give this waiver immediately, so we can get rid of this fleet. I don't need to add anything more. Of course, we like peace, we want peace, and we look forward at the end of the day to peace.
I want to add on this that by pressing, I don't like the definition dark or fleet or so, or shadow. I say this is a parallel fleet, and this parallel fleet can operate at much lower costs because they don't care for maintenance, for crewing properly, from all spare parts and so on, insurance, much less insurance. So we make a gift to the Russians that they can carry their cargoes with cheaper cost. So I cannot understand how we penalize. And you know, Europeans are very good in shooting their foot all the time. Now they said, and we have two policies in parallel. One policy is the cap. So what means the cap? Means that we need the Russian oil because If the oil, the Russian oil is disappearing, then we have $120, $130 per barrel. Because still the Druzhba pipeline is working at full capacity and supplies all landlocked refineries in Europe. So there is no more hypocrisy in the world than that. And 25% of the LNG that is used in Europe comes from Russia. And as you know, we had sold two FSRUs, not sold, chartered two FSRUs to Germany. When the invasion came, they were very much in panic, and they came and they signed with the Vice Chancellor, despite he was a Green Party, Mr. Habeck, and Ministry of Economy. So we signed a 15 years charter party for two ships at very satisfactory levels. But then, after a few months, they felt that having the Suezmaxes in Germany receiving the LNG, it was too obvious that was coming. So what they did, luckily I have seen this coming and I've sold it, and I sold it very well in time. And they took it now, both ships are in Egypt. You don't know that, because they both are in Egypt. And how they take it? They take from France, from Dunkirk, they discharge the LNG, they regasified, and they say, we don't bring. I say, what you don't bring? It is the pipeline that makes the difference. So it is huge hypocrisy. And I believe the only way forward is to accept the reasons of the invasion and find solution and the root cause. If we don't find and we don't give solution to the root cause, peace cannot happen. And to my great belief will happen, because both sides will have peace, are realistic. And peace will come, but not the way that Europe likes very much now to build a scarecrow and have all these billions for defense being spent. And you know how it was with COVID. Still we pay the inflation cost from COVID. Now with these billions, the inflation will go to the roof. And we'll have a 10 years now new exercise on inflation. So we have to be honest and not try to sell wrong ideas to the populations. This is what is happening now in Europe, and I'm sorry for that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very good points. Since we are in the area of the United Arab Emirates, I would like to ask our panelists about UAE, Saudi Arabia, and other Middle Eastern countries. They're obviously very significant counterparts for shipping, with many cargoes, as we have heard, coming from this area, especially on the oil and gas sectors, of course, but also on the ship-owning side. I would like to ask our panelists, what is your view of the future of the area? How do you see it developing? And what business do you currently engage in with local counterparties? And what opportunities you would further pursue? Moreover, do you consider the Middle East being a link between the West and East? Who would like to take this one first?
Well, since I'm from the Middle East, let me have a shot at it. First, I'd like to say that add to the hypocrisy stuff we've been seeing around the world. I mean, I can tell you, every drop of Russian crude is being sold. I mean, it's like saying that that restaurant is so crowded and so busy that nobody's going there anymore. You know, I don't know who we're trying to fool. You know. So I can tell you, Russia's busy producing oil, and the world is busy buying it somehow. It's a swimming pool concept. You take it from here, it comes up here. You push it from here, it comes up from there. So that's the reality of the world we live in. But I'm hoping that common sense will prevail, and hopefully we'll be able to find peace. With regarding to the Middle East, I think what we're seeing in the Middle East is just a resurrection of what has always have been. From 5,000 years ago, this Arabian Peninsula has been always, from 5,000 years ago, a big node for logistics and a big node for shipping. Nothing moved, whether it's a Silk Road or Spices Road, from China, from India to Europe, or from Africa back to Asia, without coming through this node. So what we're seeing here is just a resurrection of that. And we're going to see a major resurrection of that if geopolitics goes down. You know, just that the waters around the Arabian Peninsula have always been, I wouldn't want to say for a better word, exciting waters, let's put it this way, whether it is the Gulf or the Red Sea. But I think now the world has woken up, and they're saying, no, this is going to be the crossroads of economies, and we're going to link it with trains, with pipelines, with with logistics, bonded zone, not only bonded zone, but bonded corridors. So if something hits Suhar, or hits Salalah, or hits Dugum, it's like hitting, Duba in the Red Sea. It's like hitting Neom in the Red Sea, and we're going to be seeing trade go back and thrive in this region. So I'm betting big time on this region. This is the second largest, fastest growing region in the world, after India and China. So I think if there is one thing the Middle East offers the world, is the crossroads of economies. So I'm betting on it. It's growing, and I think shipping will come back in a big way to this region.
We have a saying in Greece, χωριό που φαίνεται, κολαούζο δεν θέλει. What this means, a village that you see, you don't need advertisement. What proof more than you want? Going around, going in the center of Dubai, in Abu Dhabi, in Saudi Arabia. It is obvious that something very special is happening here again. And it's very correct that you said I was in Alula a year ago, and the history there, it is alive. You can see all the Greek Romans that they were passing from here. So at one point, they were a little bit, let's say, discouraged that the end of oil is coming. And I said again, it was that 7 years ago, don't be afraid. This will be forever. And you have to focus and finance carbon capture. Carbon capture will be the solution, and not at CO2 liquid and so on, solid, which it is like the sand, and you throw directly into the water, and you don't do any harm, and it goes down, and does good. So there are already successful test engines with such result, and you don't need to capture 100%. If you capture 50%, you're okay, more than okay. But all the infrastructure, the transportation, the storage, the refineries, everything exists. We are going now to invent a new fuel, which nothing of this exists, invest trillions, when you have it everything, and you put it here, you put in your glass, you put it in your motorbike, and you go out, and all the day you are running out, you put your finger in, nothing happens. What you can do with all these alternatives? You need a factory to produce it, a factory to transport it, a factory to distribute it. What is crazy things? You have to stick on your oil, which at the end of the day is also coming from fossil, from organism. They are not, there is not chemistry. It's not chemistry. It is that under pressures became under pressure and years became the oil. So don't be discouraged. Use it. Do it what are doing it. Make it affordable for the people, because you have plenty. You have for the next 100 years. And by this, you see your countries flourish. You are blessed for a reason or why, I don't know, but you are blessed. So keep on doing, and including the gas. Thank you.
Tough to follow. Just maybe bringing us into conclusion. I would say that, and now as you see OPEC bringing more barrels back on the market, reasserting kind of the rightful place. And I think the other element we really haven't touched on is, you find a lot of the Middle Eastern countries now are mediating and really working hard directly for peace in the world. And I think that's really a critical role that's much needed and appreciated.
I think that over the last 40 years and more, there had been a lot of wars in the region, Iraq, Iran, then the Kuwait invasion, then we had, of course, all the ongoing trouble in Syria, Lebanon.
Very exciting.
And, of course, when you have all this at your back, it's very difficult to invest more or to do things that we have seen recently. But I think now it's stabilizing. You don't have the fear of Iraq. Iran also hasn't been as aggressive as in the past. And of course, there has been solutions found in Syria and in the region there. So I think that is the time now to expand and to make real investments that maybe in the previous years have been postponed. So I think that in the region here, all the fundamentals are there to see much more investment, to see a lot of progress in infrastructure. And of course, we are happy to be here to do business with friends, repeat business. And at the end of the day, we see you as partners to do things together and increase our activities in the region.
Thank you very much for this. I'd like now to move to the area of asset prices. Asset prices remain firm in most of the sectors the last few years. Despite that, there is a significant order book, new buildings. Is this something that worries you, or do you expect that the markets, including asset prices, will remain firm or even increase in the short to medium term? Moreover, would you prefer to invest in second-hand vessels or new buildings at the moment on the basis of what we have now? And which particular sectors and sizes do you believe in and why? Who would like to start? Please.
Asking us about a new building and if we see the risk, I think that we are the wrong persons because we have 100 vessels on order. And of course, we are obliged to be optimistic, and we are optimistic by nature also, and we believe in the market. So I think that there are a lot of needs around, and as we discussed before, there is more stability and there is more things that and more growth being there. So I think that as far as the new buildings are concerned, the industry needs these vessels. And of course, if we have also significant progress with the dark fleet and all the other vessels that haven't been scrapped yet because of the market conditions and what is going on with the illegal, let's say, in brackets, trade, I think that there is room there to accommodate the new buildings, and we are quite optimistic. Then, of course, we live in an inflation environment, and you see that the prices do not seem to go down. And I think that all costs have been increased, and I don't see any immediate, let's say, reduction on prices. So we are optimistic. We think that ships needed for the growth, and also the other thing is that with the new ships that we order, they are significantly more economical. And of course, this helps also the environment and also helps what we discuss regarding emissions. And answering your question is yes, we are optimistic. Yes, we see that the prices will remain high for a significant amount of time.
Thank you.
Yeah, if I may, I'll use something that Trump has been using. Remember the drill, baby drill? We are build, baby build, you know. I think vessels will continue to be built, especially when regulations are changing, because you need to replace those vessels long before the end of the lifetime. But you know, we've always been living in either high prices or low prices. If you ask the seller, he'll say, yes, I like these prices. If you ask a buyer, he says, no, I don't like these prices. And it depends where you stand in the industry. If you are, let me give you an analogy. If you are a day trader who, you know, sell and buy every 2 hours, you know, these prices scare you. But if you are a long-term, you know, investor, you know, a long-term shipper, then it doesn't matter. If you have a fleet, rule of thumb, you continue to renew a fleet, whether it is you're going to catch it here and you're going to catch it here, you're going to catch it here, you're going to catch it at all cycle. But you continue to do that because you have a commitment to your cargo owners. So we'll use all buckets, brand new, second-hand, you know, shipbuilding, you know, TCing in and TCing out, all buckets need to be used, and more of them need to be used. And what we'll do in these markets, we'll adjust. We'll do this bucket a little bit less, we'll do this bucket a little more, but eventually in this, and I think the unpredictability and the windows of opportunities are getting shorter and shorter and shorter. We're going to live with volatility, you know, in this world. It's not going to get any less. We're going to live with more regulations. It's not going to get less. So I think keeping all those options open and ensuring that you have something in each bucket is what I think going to be the winning strategy going forward.
Okay. Yeah, so just to complement what you're saying there, you know, it's kind of yes and, right? You know, secondhand, selling the old ships, you know, refreshing. So at Seaways, you know, our fleet, we've renewed on the MR side, and then we're selling old ships. We're taking new deliveries of LR1s, and we just bought a secondhand VLCC. So, you know, I would like to have the new ones. But, you know, by hook or crook, you know, you're constantly trying to high grade your fleet. And we've moved on to the bigger ships, and that's what we're really focused on at the moment.
I like what Lois said. It's not an or, it's always an and. Always an and, yeah.
This is the most difficult question. And nobody can be sure of anything. Scrapping, which helps to trim the market. As you trim the tree, you trim the market, and then happens when the ship that you are selling is a loss-making ship. If you make $1,000 per the ship, you don't give it, you keep it. So in order to see scrapping, we must have a 6 to 12 months bad market. This is one, Mr. Sharma said it before, because the market is good, no ships are going for scrap. It is obvious. You don't scrap something that is positive on your balance sheet. Also, the yards are busy now practically up to the end of 2029, fully booked. So today we have the end of 25, 6, 7, 8, 9. You have to be a magician to know what happens after 4 years in the world. That's why it is difficult. What can bring this upside down? A financial crisis. How a financial crisis can happen if tariffs backfire and the regional building walls in trade, which this is a possibility. The 32 USA financial crisis and big crash started because at that time, again, they have put tariffs. They use also the same, and they call it at that time flower tariffs. Always they like to put a name in the tariffs. Now it is beautiful tariffs. But if you read, but it was with a name, flower tariffs. So this is a difficult question. Definitely, every younger ship is more efficient, and as the biggest bill that we are paying in our company is the fuel bill. So if this comes down 30%, 35% is a big, big advantage. But as you see, and we repeatedly said, these very old ships, and dark fleet, parallel fleet, whatever you call it, they make a lot of money, and they go up and down and so on. And that's why also second-hand vessels, they command a price disproportionate with their age. So to order or not to order, I'm not the right person because I don't have credibility if I say this, because I have 100 ships on order. So it is not easy to give an advice. But I'm stipulating the facts. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I had a couple of more questions, but I see that we are short of time, and I'm sure people are waiting for the lunch as well. I'm not sure if we have like 1 minute for a question from the audience, or if we should.
I think we should.
Shall we open it to the audience? One question? Anyone?
Here forever, but let's have one question. Two. I have a question for Evangelos.
Please.
So you were talking about the dark fleet and about allowing the dark fleet to be scrapped, recycled. Do you think?
Only scrap.
Sorry?
Only
scrapped, yes. So do you think that if they give this waiver and they allow the owners of the dark fleet to be scrapped, that they will do it?
I think that at least 25%, 30% they will do it. Because also there are a lot of ships that they can hardly move. So these ships, they use it for the trade with a lot of risk. And, Anil is the appropriate person to answer this question, but I think from what we see around, that at least 25%, and 25% is a lot of ships. And of course, will make a significant impact in the market as well.
Will be a way out for them, yeah.
Absolutely. Asking us. I see no Yeah, I think definitely if the licenses are given, there will be a flood of ships that are coming in because some of them are indeed unsafe and there are issues that are happening with insurance and so forth, yeah.
Even if they put a time limit within the next
absolutely.
3 months, they can do it.
Absolutely. The time limit will help this. Yeah, I think it's a good point.
Yeah.
3 months, they will go for it. Yeah.
Shipyard. Is there enough scrapyard in the world? That's the question. Capacity, yeah.
They can beat them.
First of all, I'd like to thank you for an absolutely dynamite panel. You know, I was joking that when you are putting a conference together, you have 3 main points: the beginning, the panel after lunch, and the end. So I'm grateful that, I mean, we ended the conference with, the whole day was tremendous, but we ended with a thunder, so thank you very, very much. And again, Khalid and Hisham, thank you and Anil for pioneering our presence here. And now we'll turn it over to our partner, Ian from DNV, to give the closing remarks.
Thank you, Nicholas. And round of applause. And what an event it's been, ladies and gentlemen. And on behalf of DNV and all participants, I'd like to share thanks to the Capital Link team, who've done an amazing job, to distinguished speakers, moderators, and everyone who have contributed. I started today talking about Dubai, right? And what Dubai is famous for. Collaboration, connection, innovation, and ambition. And I think this event has truly lived up to that. You know, we've heard from Mr. Alsubaey about the region going through a resurrection, you know, becoming a really important crossroads in the world for trade and global shipping. And as I said in the beginning, I think the region is really living up to shape the future of the global shipping. So I hope we can keep this momentum going forward, turn some of that ambition into real action and collaboration going forward. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining, and enjoy the rest of the day.
And by the way, thank you to all the sponsors who contributed to this event. Thank you to all of you.